Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Chicago Bears 24, New York Giants 20. Bears moved to 6-3, surviving the wintry conditions here. The snow, the wind. Caleb Williams, speaking of game-winning touchdown runs. Caleb Williams, the game-winning touchdown run, 63 yards on the ground for Caleb. And Bears get the win here. Jackson Dart goes down with a concussion for the Giants. It was 17-7 at the time, and a lot of things changed after he goes down with a concussion and the lost fumble on that play.
Yeah. This is becoming interesting for the Giants and Dart. Like, they continue to deploy him as if he is a Tim Tebow style of running quarterback, like a Cam Newton, this sort of power running quarterback. They're not just being like, here's a read option look where if you like it, take off. They're like legitimately giving him designed quarterback runs up the middle.
QB power.
Yeah.
Power, and like they're running QB power, QB counter, pullers. Those are downhill type of runs.
And look, he's shown he will slide sometimes, but this is now 2 times already where he's taken a big whack and has at least been evaluated for concussion. And this is the challenging thing. I mean, the Bills have dealt with this with Josh Allen. Like, how much is too much risk for a quarterback running up the middle? Like, how much? This is clearly a part of what makes him a difficult quarterback to defend, but already it's surfaced a couple of times where it's taken him off the field, and you've had to at least look at him. This one appears to be a legitimate concussion. It's keeping him out. That's difficult now. I don't know. Do you have to dial back on that? Or you just say, look, this can happen to anybody. It's 2 times in short succession. That doesn't mean it'll be 2 times in short succession from here on in.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Bears in a minute, but let's just talk about it from a Giants perspective and answer that. I'm very impressed with Jackson Dart overall. I think we should all be pretty impressed with how he's played this year. I think I've said for weeks, though, like you have to find this balance. I talk about this with a lot of different quarterbacks. There is a balance, just like the quarterbacks who take too many sacks versus, or like how, you always talk about the sliders, right? There's certain quarterbacks who have a lot of big-time throws and a lot of turnover-worthy plays, and you figure out, okay, how do you balance all of the special plays that they make with the risky decisions that they make? You have to find that balance. There was the Jameis Winston thing where Jameis is going to be so aggressive down the field, but how aggressive is too aggressive? Then you have a Josh Allen example where it's like, it feels like you could deploy him as a runner every 3rd and 4th and short and you're going to have success, but like, do you actually want to do that every single game for 17 games? Then you have certain quarterbacks who just take too many sacks, but it's at the expense of you're going to create some big plays as well. Like, what's that balance? How many times do you want to get them playing within structure versus out of structure, right? And so the Jackson Dart question falls into the just how often do you want him running, both scrambling and as a design runner? How much, like, if he comes back next week or 2 weeks, whenever he comes back from his concussion, they're 2-8, man.
Right.
How much, like, just it's a tough one, right? Because Brian Daboll, if they win 4 games this year, Daboll might not be there. There's already rumblings that he's not going to be around, but Joe Shane will be.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could easily make this case. Look at how impressive Jackson Dart is. Joe Shane found him, but it's like it was Daboll's guy, and Daboll's not winning games, so you could easily see that happening. So you're going to have the head coach saying, well, I want to win as many games as possible. And you're going to have the GM, somebody's going to be saying, well, we need Jackson Dart in one piece next year.
Yeah, but it's also part of what makes him such a surprise package. Like, we've made this point already. I saw somebody else making it yesterday. Like, his athleticism and rushing ability has been one of the most, like, overlooked or undervalued parts of the draft evaluation and the entire thing. Like, this dude is a dynamic rushing threat that might not make any sense when you're looking at it, but is effective. It's like, I did the same thing with Daniel Jones when he came out, right? Nobody was like, Daniel Jones is going to be a rushing dynamo in the NFL based off his Duke tape. And then out he comes, and he's like one of the most effective rushing quarterbacks in the NFL all the time, to the point where it's continually surprising defenses. Jackson Dart's doing that now. But as producer Will puts in the chat, per ESPN, he's been contacted the 2nd most of any quarterback since becoming a starter in Week 4, taking an average of almost 13 hits per contest. It's his 4th time now being evaluated for concussion. So that's the problem. Like, how do you square that tension between his rushing is a thing that everyone sort of overlooked, and it's actually one of the most potent weapons that he brings to the table, but it's now his fourth time being looked at for a concussion off the back of this. I mean, that you can't sustain that as a rate.
I keep coming back to QB durability is a style thing. It's not a number of hits thing. I mean, yeah, like if you get hit a lot more than everyone else, the chances you get hurt are higher. But certain quarterbacks are better at taking hits. Like Mahomes is better at taking hits. Like people are just either better at knowing how to get hit, knowing how to protect themselves, knowing when to protect themselves, knowing when to slide versus when to drop the shoulder. And some quarterbacks are simply just more injury prone no matter how big they are, a.k.a. Anthony Richardson, right? And so now, is that true? Carson Wentz. They're two big guys. They're built for durability. And when they get hit, they get hurt. It's just the reality. It's just who you are. Jimmy Garoppolo is smaller. He's slight. He gets hurt a lot. Kirk Cousins is slight. He doesn't get hurt a lot outside of an Achilles is kind of a freak injury, right? So he's been evaluated for a concussion 4 times in 8 weeks as a starter, or 7 weeks as a starter.
Apparently.
So that's a crazy number, man. So I go back to
but he's like consistent. But the problem is he's consistently like leading the team in rushing. He takes off, scrambling all the time for big plays. He's also a load. Like it's not just he's elusive. Like he's actually difficult to bring down as well. So, and they're deploying him like he's this Tim Tebow, Cam Newton power running threat. I mean, if he's been evaluated for concussion 4 times in that stretch, do you have to say all of that's off the table now?
I would.
He's got to go back to being like he has to cosplay as Peyton Manning from now on.
Yes, and here's the precedent that I believe. I bring this up a lot, but I don't know if it was by design or not. But do you remember the first full year Jalen Hurts started was 2022, right? 22 or 20? 21 was the first one of the. Now I'm losing it. Was it 21 or 22? There was the year. No, it was 21. The first half of 2021. The Eagles were not using Jalen Hurts as a runner. It
was like they were performatively trying to prove that he could be a pocket quarterback.
Again, I think the Ravens did this at one point with Lamar Jackson, where they would drop back. Like the Ravens would have this stretch where they would drop back like 40 times with Lamar. And the Eagles did the same thing. And at the time we were saying, this isn't Hurts' game. But I read it as, if they're really saying, we know you can run. We know you can do it. We know we can run QB power with you. This is pre-tush push. We know you can do this stuff. We need you to develop as a passer. That's the upside. That's the ceiling. If you don't develop as a passer, I don't care how good of a runner you are. It doesn't matter. And it felt like the Eagles in the first half of 2021, they were losing games, and they were just dropping back and letting Hurts drop back pass. And he developed as a passer. And all of a sudden, he became this better, well-rounded quarterback who could throw and run more consistently. And he got reps. He got 300 reps or whatever it was in the first half of the season. That's where I'm at with Dart. Whenever he comes back from the latest concussion here, or the concussion, you're developing as a passer. And I'm doing that from the top. Daboll, I don't care about job security, whatever. He is just going to develop. He's going to throw the ball on time. Just last week against the Niners, just sitting there holding the ball for an hour, and the guy from behind just absolutely crushes him for a sack. He's got to develop as a passer. I know they don't have great receivers, and they're missing Malik Neighbors. I get it. He's got to throw the ball on time. And then next year, when we're really trying to, when winning games really matters, we'll figure out how much we need to deploy power counter, QB downhill runs.
Darius Slayton made a couple of spectacular plays in this one.
Fantastic.
I don't know. So this tweet comes from somebody called Joe Shane MVP. So it's not our usual standard of, AP, Josh Dubow level of.
Is it his son?
So what I'm saying is I haven't vetted this in terms of, I haven't fact checked it.
Just make sure it's not that guy. Who's the guy? Weston something or like the guy?
No. It's not like that.
Fools everybody.
My point being, I haven't checked the math, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So he says against the Cowboys, Broncos, and Bears, the Giants had a win probability of 92.3%, 99.3%, and 96.9% late in the fourth quarter. And Brian Daboll, he said, again, detention. Shane might be there, Daboll might not. Joe Shane MVP says Brian Daboll lost all of them. Apparently, according to him, the odds of that happening are 1 in 60,000. Essentially, if you string those three win probabilities together sequentially, the odds of losing all 3 of those games are 1 in 60,000 for the Giants. And yet, that's exactly what's happened.
Wow. The last thing, because I want to give the Bears proper credit in this whole thing, and we're long-winded. The last thing in this, though, if you're making the positive Jackson Dart point, we're play-by-play people, right? This play,
he still looks good.
Add up all the plays. He's been very good. If you just look at the without, the pre and the post, the offense with Russell Wilson versus with Jackson Dart, I think there's something to that for the quarterback. Even like early in Josh Allen's career where there was some wild plays, it was just like the offense was better when he was out there versus, I don't know, Nathan Peterman. But when Russell Wilson comes in, or the way this offense looked early in the season, Jackson Dart has made it 1,000 times better, and there's something to that. So you got to protect that guy. And then the same thing happened in this game, 17-7. Now, he did fumble. The turnover affected things. But after it was 17-7, it was like Giants had like a little screen pass, 41 yards. That's all Russ was able to muster up, and they were unable to seal it. And I think, not having Jackson Dart was a huge part of that.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, they had a nice catch and run from Slayton, but outside of that, the offense basically didn't move.
Now, from the Bears' point of view, I thought it was, Roma. It was a squeaky wheel, dad's upset game. Bears just scored 1 million points, and dad's upset that Roma Dunze had no catches.
Isn't that a classic, not to be all boomer, old man yells at cloud thing, but like back in the day, the receiver was the problem. Now it's the receiver's dad. Like helicopter parents, right? Back in the day, you could rely on your diva receiver to be his own pain in the ass. Now it has to be the diva receiver's helicopter dad who's the problem.
Gen X.
Like Roma Dunze seems to be a perfectly nice, middle-of-the-road, no problems. Roma Dunze's dad is a giant thorn in their side.
Gen
right?
X dads.
It wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr. causing problems. It was Marvin Harrison Sr. like kicking up a ruckus, right? What happened?
Squeaky dads. Squeaky dads get you the targets.
Just, helicopter parents are permeating all walks of life now, even the NFL, apparently.
The Bears got 6 for 86 from Roma Dunze, 4 for 55 from Colston Loveland, and 3 for 51 from Luther Burden. Some big plays. So, and then DJ Moore almost had a spectacular catch.
I mean, this was a little bit like we talked about one of these before with Bo Nix, right? Like, it was kind of windy. On the other hand, Bo Nix usually looks like this. This was like, it was very windy, 20-plus mile-an-hour winds in this game, Windy City, after all. On the other hand, Caleb Williams routinely almost makes a bunch of spectacular plays. Like, there were so many in this game where they were, like, almost amazing.
Everything felt like an almost play. And, again, it wasn't necessarily a bad throw. The Bears dropped a ton of passes.
Yeah.
And when you have weather games like this, it affects the drop rate too.
Yeah, that's why in the wind.
And so I want to credit Caleb Williams, man. Now, he had 20 of 36 for 220 and a touchdown. The stats aren't going to be great. 6 or 7 drops depending on the outlets you're looking at, and a couple of those, like the throw to DJ Moore in the end zone, rolling right, you could say is a spectacular throw. Insane. But if it doesn't time up with his footwork to stay in bounds,
right?
Like you can't control that as the quarterback. Like there were some unbelievable throws by Caleb Williams, but the 2 runs that he had, 29-yarder, was it 29? A 29-yarder and then the 17-yard game winner. He's really fast, Caleb Williams. Like his straight-up speed. I could not believe the angle that he hit on that 17-yard game-winning touchdown.
Every element of his physical tool set is more impressive than you think it is. His arm is better than you think it is. His speed is better than you think it is. He's stronger than you think he is. Like every single element of his physical tool set is more impressive, I think, than people give it credit for. And it shows up every game. I mean, Ross Tucker, I think, made this point. Like, no quarterback in the NFL is capable of generating the velocity that he is without his feet under him, on the run. Like, running with neither foot on the ground. His ability to fire a laser is unrivaled. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Mahomes, none of those guys can generate the RPMs that he does on those throws specifically. It's unbelievable watching the torque that he can generate on some of those throws.
The other thing about Caleb that I think a year and a half into his career, he's been below average at making the line look good. There's been some games that are better than others, but below average overall as far as sack rate, and when it's pressure, it's like it doesn't end up good. In this game, though, he didn't get sacked once. Darnell Wright, I saw this. There's a great block from Darnell Wright going around where he just
Burns.
Yeah, he just stops the spin.
He just grabs him with his left hand and tosses him into the floor. It's amazing.
But the point I want to make, Darnell Wright got whooped 3 other times. And every single one should have been a sack. And Caleb Williams saved him. And again, my PSA for all those out there, do not use the sacks allowed stat for offensive linemen. And Darnell Wright, I know he has the highlight reel positive block. I'm saying he got smoked by Abdul Carter, by Kayvon Thibodeau, and someone else on another one. And Caleb Williams saved multiple sacks. Like Darnell Wright should have given up 3 sacks in this game. And Caleb Williams saved him. So I don't think he's done a great job historically of making the line look good when it comes to sack rate and the whole deal. In this game, Caleb Williams did. And so it's not showing up in the stat line, but he saved a lot of those negative plays. 63 yards on the ground, including those 2 long runs that set up both of the last 2 touchdowns there, including the game winner. I thought all of the tools for Caleb Williams were on display in this game and a huge part of their comeback win here.
Yeah, he was very impressive overall.
Was there anything else in this game? We got a lot to get through still.
Yeah.
So the Bears, man, 6-3. Impressive win for them, and they survive again. Like they're not playing. Are they regression candidates because they're all 1-score games? Because they're on the other end of this win probability deal, man. They're winning all these tight games, but I still think there's this world where Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, there's a lot of good there where it's going to continue to progress and grow here.
Throw Luther Burden into my bucket of play the rookie more. Like he's getting, like Zacchaeus is getting more playing time than him still. He's kind of seeing more targets than him. And right now, Luther Burden looks like a dramatically more dangerous receiver than Zacchaeus. So flip that.
That's the point I wanted to make here. The trio of Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden had 192 of the 220 receiving yards.
Yeah.
And that's the future.
Yeah.
For the Bears.
And that's with, Luther Burden having the capacity to get a bigger workload because Zacchaeus is still taking a chunk of those. Like DJ Moore is still taking a chunk of those snaps. Like
along with the 1-2 punch, DeAndre Swift was back.
Yep.
Monangai only got 7 carries, but he had a nice touchdown. The physicality and the speed, and Swift had a really physical run on 4th down too. This was a crazy 4th down game. Both teams were 1 for 5 on 4th down. They were just going for all of them and not getting them. It was just a crazy back and forth game early. Mm-hmm. But they're starting to. The pieces are coming together for the Ben Johnson offense there.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.